Hey, so I'm just going to carry on with the next chapter of my book. The last video I ended with the title of the next chapter, which is Acceptance and Realization Can Aid in One's Survival. And I think I spoke a bit about that, but anyway, now I'm just going to read. The gift of life and the gift of death for me are equal. Merely being alive is the same as merely being dead. So I think that if one's life is reaching its end, there is no shame in embracing death. Death is a part of the natural process of evolving spiritual beings. Okay. That's it. 9 years ago, younger me. So yeah, okay. Don't quite know what I mean there. I've had many fantasies about dying, or rather the places I would go and the way I would feel after my death. It's so different now, oh my gosh. They're idealistic locations I believe my spirit will experience and journey to once I am dead. I think I remember, I think a lot of these places that I imagined or wanted to go to had to do with my mom, because I just lost her and I'm going through trauma as I'm writing the book, and I was so young and I didn't have much to imagine or much to draw from to have an imagination, and I hadn't even traveled anywhere yet at that point. So yeah, this was interesting. These fantasies would become so auto-tuned to my mind that I was convinced that no one would ever be able to stop me from believing in them, even though inside I knew they were twisted obsessions. I will admit to you, I still yearn for these ideals. I yearn for death and where I think I'll go. Sure. I really didn't know what I was saying, hey? But I remember that I just knew nothing about life or death. But I remember that after my mom passed, a part of me left. A part of me died. Just plain and simple. And then I became like militant. I didn't know how to be. I had no guidance, and I just basically didn't really know about life at all. So this was so exploratory, but after she had died, I believed that my purpose was fulfilled in life, and I had felt this part of me just die as well with her, and I became militant and like an empty shell, and I was just strong and whatever, and afterwards, people fade away. They don't stay. They don't care at all. In fact, loads of people stay away, they stayed away from me because they don't know what to say, or that's the worst thing. If somebody dies and it's of someone that you care about and you love, and you're that person's friend, or just if whatever the case may be, and you know that you can do something, just be there with that person, just so they don't have to have so many thoughts go through their brain, or you might want to just do something kind for them, that they don't ultimately lose themselves because they can't cope, because going through grief is pretty hectic. And then, for a young person as well, if you don't have support, and if all your support that you would have had just leaves, and that includes adults and friends in so-called family, and it's like crazy. So yeah, this is just word to the wise. I mean, be there for the ones you love. Be there for people if you can in their times of need. You might you you're most likely gonna need that at some point in your life, and it's really important not to just treat whoever it is in a certain way that when you need somebody and you call on them because you think they understand and they don't answer or they can't necessarily as much as they might want to, and you know they might even answer your phone call and understand and hear you out, but you can't be surprised if they don't have time or they can't make room for you when you just walked away from them. And also, you're taking a chance by calling them because maybe they're not around anymore. Because I mean, back then, and even now, it's crazy how I'm still here. And how many times, how many occasions that I wouldn't have been and nobody would have known about it. And then I think, well, I was still here the entire time through loads of stuff that I went through. And when some people did reach out, quite a lot actually over the years, and a lot of people reached out to me to talk to me about things that they were struggling with or even losses. And loads of people spoke to me because they missed my mom or they wanted to talk about her. And that would always be so weird or interesting to me because I would be like, yeah, she was my mom. I was there. And I went through a lot of, I don't know if it's over, but I mean, there was just a lot of how I just thought, okay, well, hi, I'm still here. The reason why you can tell somebody or hear from someone who knew my mom or have that person hear from you what you thought about her. Well, that's me, and I would often feel like, and then the person would go, and I'd be left with that extra, like, okay, but I'm still here. What about me? Hi, yes, my mom, yes, she's dead, yes. Thank you for coming. Very often people would, or in my life anyway, they would come to me, tell me about their hardships. I would listen, etc. Or people would tell me about my own mother and how sad they are about her, and etc. And it's not that I'm gone. It's not that they lost me, but they are talking to me about someone who I lost. And then, yeah, loads of those people did not care at all how I was feeling. They just many people just came to me to tell me how they were feeling about my mom, and I would kind of be in a really awkward role, and ultimately would default into just listening and being compassionate. And so many people have said like, you're so strong and blah blah blah. There's moments in life where that's the only thing you can try and pretend to be. Like, even if it's like militant and you practice it and inside, yeah, I suppose it does take strength to stand up and walk and continue living whilst you have something wrenched out of you dead, your mom lost, you can't get it back, walking around, you're not wanting to be no support, etc., and then still standing up and carrying on whilst having all this pain inside of you. Yeah, okay, I warrant that. And that's inside that I know about, that I can comment on. It's still relevant now. And like many people would see it from the outside. And I think lots of people would think that that's all I am, or that was not only a front, but it was something on the inside. By front, I mean that's what other people would see and observe, like I was so strong or whatever. And for some reason, many people just didn't. I suppose it's due to me as well, but I mean, I didn't really learn, or even as I grew up, it was not easy for me to just speak about things that I was going through, speak about things that were really close to my heart. Um, Even now, it's not that I'm fake. It's that there are so many layers to me. It's like, in my imagination, it's like callousing over and over and over, and it's like really a process to just get to the deeper core of my heart and stuff. And through a lot of time, it's just, yeah, I've had to be strong, and I've had to guard my heart, because I've been through more and more heartbreaks, and you know walking around seeming strong, okay, and yeah, being strong, I had to make that decision. Okay, I have to be strong. And I also went through periods where I was not strong. I was weak. I couldn't do anything. And then what's worse than that is believing that that is exactly what you are, and then you also don't do anything. And then you're also like, all these people have lied, or like, I hate everything, or everybody hates me. I would often be in states, everybody hates me, and nobody loves me, and then I would also hate me, and I would question, why am I even here? And I went through some, after I read my book, and yeah, I went through some dark stuff. That's why I'm saying, like, don't give up. Just don't. You keep on keeping on, and nowadays there's ways to reach out for support. I mean, how? Reach out to me. I can refer you. It's like, for me, a lot of the times, I know that, like, it's almost crazy how I'm still here every day when I wake up, and I'm working on just also spending more and more time, or having more and more breaks in the day where I can sit down and just be more grateful, practice more of that gratefulness. Because it's not that I don't have negative thoughts, or what some people say is negative is more my reality. But that's also hard, but ultimately it doesn't break my heart or affect me, because a lot of people don't know what's going on really deep underneath. And it takes time to get there, and it takes trust. I don't generally trust easy, but I can trust. But it's like, there needs to be truth, there needs to be things sorted out. If I pick up that a person is lying to me, I will generally keep it on surface conversation, or I would separate me from things. And I can't quite explain that, but let's carry on. Appropriate to this is something that has been said very often. There is nothing more stubborn than a made-up mind. Yes, that is true. And I think for me, I can say, yeah, but you can't change that. You can. it's just difficult. And also, I want to throw in there that if your mind is made up about something and you're young and you don't know, I mean, I didn't know, and I'm referring to something that I heard trying to understand myself, and then later on I went through periods where other people would tell me, I think I know everything, and I would argue that, and I would say, but I don't know everything, how could I possibly know everything? But it would seem like that. And I think that would often be when my stubbornness would just persist, as if the other person just didn't hear me. But I can't really give concrete. That's a while ago. And now it's very different. Communication is hard, people. It's really difficult. And that could not be more true both then and now. Hence, the reason as to why I have not been able to let them go. Even if I tell myself I should not think of them in that way, that I view death incorrectly, or that there was something wrong with me, I cannot alter my deepest thoughts. Okay, so I'm commenting on my own imagination there, those fantasies that I thought, where will I go after I die, And I don't know if I share any of these. I don't think I do, but I remember them. And yeah, they actually helped, and I think it was my own brain's way of just going through grief. And also, I mean, I can't say, nobody can really say the grief process, especially if it's your mom and you're young, how's it gonna go? And it's also get help at that point, if you lost somebody that's very close to you, go get help. This pertains to psychologists, any professional. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're a person and you lose someone, like your parent. I knew this psychologist. She did it. She barely took a week off. And that came through in her work, her therapy. And she was ultimately affecting other patients because she didn't quite have a handle on what she was going through. And so, I remember suggesting, or asking and suggesting, why is it so short? Why don't you take a longer amount of time? Because, and I was quite honest. I just said that I could feel it. I felt like I was giving that therapist my time, and that I should be charged for, so it doesn't matter who you are. If you're going through loss, I mean, take the time to grieve properly, to prevent yourself from having weird problems that bubble out of your mind because of unresolved or not dealt with trauma or PTSD, etc. Don't avoid those things. They just don't ignore them. They won't just go away, no matter how hard you work. It's if you forget about it, you know what? It's gonna come back. You're gonna have to deal with it. So it's really important, and it takes time. I just keep thinking of how could I change my mind when I've already cemented my spiritual beliefs? Oh, that could be not. Oh wow, naive young child. How could I let them go when I have not established any desire to do so? That's if I highlighted that and just were to give an example of, and put this in the in the bubble of, I had no idea what I was talking about at all. That would be this. I couldn't remember what. Yeah. I was so young. I didn't really have any experience with anything spiritual. I'm questioning my own spiritual beliefs there, but They were not. They were not. And so I remember it was a spiritual exploration for a couple of years after that where I started thinking, oh, okay, this, and it's through experience of life that I sort of grew and learned a bit more and, explored my own spirituality, trying to figure out what. So I guess this is the beginning of that, but I didn't know what I was talking about. Not at that point. I think that I was seeking that, and it would have been great to have guidance there. But ultimately, if you don't, just don't not go and explore your spirituality. I mean, there's a reason why there's things like belief, faith, hope, peace, joy, etc. And praying. And yeah, I mean, it just, if you think of your soul, you got a soul part of your body. You got a spirit. I don't want to go through all the freaking realms or anything, but like, as a person, you gotta believe that you gotta have you got a heart, you got a soul. You know that, and therefore you kind of wander spiritually, and you want to believe in something. You want to believe in that there's something good that's gonna come, or that you have hope. Just have hope. It's, or that you can pray. You can pray. And so, like, what I'm saying is that don't cut yourself off and sort of walk around sort of like you're alive, but you're kind of walking around dead because you don't believe in anything sort of more like lively, more alive life. You're not choosing life. So that heads back to the sentence in the beginning where I say merely being alive is the same as merely being dead. If you're like, I'm alive, I'm dead, you're like indifferent. So, I mean, you are alive if you are still here and you're breathing. That's a huge thing. And to grasp that, you gotta keep going, you gotta keep living, you gotta embrace things about life that promote life, that are of life, light, that help you grow, and don't do the opposite. So yeah. Okay. Somehow, through all the questions and undetermined answers, I became convinced that it would not be possible to achieve any of my ideals here. So a lot of the time my goal was, and is, to die. That's heavy. I actually shared that in like years ago. I so intensely wanted to go to these odysseys I fantasized about in order to finally find peace and calm. Minimalism, simplicity, and the universe of serenity and love was all that I wanted. It is all I want. I can say that that is definitely what I would still want. I think that's something that everybody kind of wants, Everybody wants that, And I think that where some confusion lies is that, or where there's an obstacle there, is that that one can sometimes think or be put off by, I'll never have that, or that's gonna come after death, or it's just not possible here. And for me, I believe that that is possible, but it's about you connecting with life and other people in this life, and also what is above you, that you believe that is bigger than you and everyone, and more into that spiritual side. Again, to enhance your life, yeah. On the other hand, and yes, there is always another hand, I started thinking about why I was still here. I mean, why not be dead already? Hectic. It would be easy to make that wish come true. It was almost as if I wanted death to be like a gift to me. I did not want to be the one to end it all. Instead, I wanted something similar to the whole pulling the plug situation. I suppose one could also think of it as the angel of death job. Might I add that I said pulling the plug in quotation marks, and angel of death also in quotation marks. And I'm glad I did that. But, what I'm speaking about there, I've often thought about in different ways. But ultimately, what's important that I say there is that I did not, for me, and you're supposed to feel this conviction. You're supposed to know. Yeah. And I can say now that giving up and is not an option. It's not going to solve your problems. And it's just not an option. And the things I put in quotation marks, that stuff you see in movies. It doesn't happen like that. If anything, get people, your friends, get support around you. Be supportive. Join something. Link up with people. That's what's going to add more to your life. And the right people as well. If you're in friendships or situations that are toxic for you, and yes, by toxic I mean like as if you swallow poison while you're with other people, and that you're affected in a negative way, and that you're not looking forward to it, and that you don't have a good time, and that you feel either lonely while you're with your group of people, or you feel like you want to escape, or you feel like you can't be yourself, or if you're with a person or people that tend to use you, that tend to lie to you, and that in some cases also take it too far and abuse you. Now, I'm not talking about everybody, but I've been through my own things in life, and I don't need to go into detail there, where I did not know how toxic the situation was that I was in, and I experienced every form of abuse, and that I feel goosebumps in my spine. And I'm here. I'm not a victim. I'm a victor, and I got help immediately. And I know there's a lot of people out there that just don't have the voice for it and don't know how to reach out for help, or are stuck in situations that nobody else will help them because they're scared. And it's real, especially inside the home. And there are loads of stories that go untold. There can be violence as well, and it can be insanely scary. So if anything, you got to have that lifeline. You've got to be able to just, like nowadays, if somebody is in need of something, I basically can give numbers of hotlines and say, this number, you save it into your phone. I would send the contact, and I'd say, you call this number, this is what they do, etc. Or you go here for that and here for that, and this is what you do. And that's basically all I can do. And and then there are certain ways that unfortunately I didn't know, but that should be spread in awareness and things like that. The options that you have, that the things that you can do, the actions that you can take to get out of these situations, especially when it is pertaining to harassment or abuse or things that really are serious, and you need to do something about it. And it's often situations you might be in that you won't choose, you would never have chosen, and maybe you're scared, and I don't want to go too much into this, but I just want to say that you're not alone, but you can't keep quiet. You have to have that moment planned. You have to, anyone listening to this, equip yourself with the right numbers, please. if you don't have in your phone or written down numbers, emergency numbers, and I'm not talking about friends, family, not only that, I'm just saying you need to have a pharmacy, ambulance, doctor, lawyer, a hotline, and there's multiple different hotlines. If not for you, you can share it to somebody else, but it's very important to have these things. You have to, save your contacts, keep those business cards, know who to call, have a plumber, know all these things, know how to call the municipality, things like that. It's stuff about life. You need those things. It can help you have your independency and also security about a lot of things, because you know what to do or you know who to call. And you also have the resources in your phone or written down in a book or something. I mean, I'm not saying go tattoo them, but I'm just saying you can do that. And that is very important. It's really, really important. That's something that anyone can do for themselves, just find out what numbers, find out, other than like your family who you think you can call. A lot of those, there's been times where I would call literally every single person that would be almost on my emergency contact list. That would be people that I knew, even family, that would not answer. And so only after that whole rigmarole would I resort to sometimes calling what I should have, but that changes. I can tell lots of stories on that. But for me, that was a learning process. So now I'm just giving that advice, just saying, like, if you don't have those emergency numbers, go find them out. Doesn't matter where you're living, you need to find that out. And that's what you can do for yourself. That's what you can do for yourself to share with others. Should they talk to you? Should they ask you? That's what you can do for your family. That's what you can do for your sibling. That's what you can do. It's just a thing of life that you should do. And so that you don't have to almost like be in a movie scene where you must, like, you're stranded on an island and you must like write SOS, hoping that some helicopter or something will fly over and come save you. Okay, it's a bit imaginative, so in your daily life you just need to know and set that up for yourself. Be responsible is what I'm saying. Be responsible. Okay. I often felt as if I had some kind of noxious sickness depleting me, that my life commenced in reaching its end. Wow, that is an oxymoron. Okay. I consistently desired to be whisked away by a cool sea breeze or absorbed into the warm summer sky. But I simply could not grant it to myself. That's also part of, and this part of this is very interesting. Because you can take a walk on the beach and have a cool sea breeze. And if you allow it, if you appreciate it, that's exactly what I'm talking about here. If you know a place where you can sit in the sun and feel that warmth, oh, I love that. I absolutely love it. Sure. I will be a sun ray chaser. If I see a portion of sun, I'll be like, ah, and quickly stand in it. Yeah. I don't like being cold. And I love the sun. It's really awesome to embrace. It's like, especially just closing your eyes, basking in the sun, and just soaking that up. It's amazing. No matter how much I want to end this pain and anguish, I do not know if I could be selfish enough to do it. And there I was calling myself selfish, hectic. It is like I would do it on behalf of others, almost as if I would go against their best wishes and cast an intentional net of pain. Okay, I'm glad that I was aware of that. Everybody should be. I do not intend to make anyone's life more sad or difficult, and I don't want to decide for others either. Phew! That's a whole paragraph that is an oxymoron, that is a paradigm shift. Hashtag necessary. Boom. Like, sure, that is confusing, but I understand what I was trying to say. I understand how to rearrange this into making sense, only as I'm older. But what makes me want to change my mind about it is that I feel I am more of a burden when I'm alive. Ah, come on, that's a lie, people. When you find out that that's not the truth, don't give up. Which suddenly makes getting rid of myself a stronger contender in my preferred cause of death. Whoa, that's danger. That's so wrong. This turns deciding for others into a description of feelings and stripped hesitation. Now listen to me. If you are thinking along those lines, that's dangerous. If you know somebody that's thinking that way, speaking that way, you need to know that's a point. No further than that. These were just thoughts on paper. So, and I went further than that. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of a miracle that I am still here. And this is now many, many years. This is now like many years. And so what I'm saying here is that this is dangerous. If only somebody could have known and told me that, or helped me there. Okay, so alas, I think I should add that even if I were to tell you I wouldn't do it, it does not mean I could never do it. That is true. Never say never. They say, as the mind alters action much slower than it alters itself. Hence, one will never quite know what will do with unmonitored action. This is so true, especially in different mind states. If you are not okay and you're feeling these kind of things and you're feeling desperate, don't choose to isolate. Don't choose to be alone. Don't choose to not type that message that you know that you're going to type. Reach out. Reach out. Give that call. Reach out. There is no room in that. Like, don't allow doubts to enter your mind. Don't allow anything to say, what if. Hello, if you need help and if you don't want to be alone and you know you can't be alone, you call. You reach out. You share. Might seem scary or whatever, and you might what, but ultimately that's what you got to do. Don't keep it to yourself. And if you know somebody that's like going through that type of thing, don't walk away from them. Don't ignore them. If you notice that need, that they need somebody. They don't need to be alone by themselves, and you walk away from that. I don't know what will happen to you, but like I want to say, just I pray that Lord have mercy. Or maybe you should pray. But ultimately, lots of love and yeah, just word to the wise. These views I have about death and life confuse me, as I'm not even sure they are true or not. They persistently contradict one another. I feel I have lost touch with my inner self. I cannot seem to be able to dig deep enough to know if my end is truly what I want. I think it is, but then I doubt myself because my feelings don't always concur. I must say, I absolutely love the honesty. This is a long chapter, hectic. With all of this in mind, I tend to think about the fact that I've lived through so much that should have killed me, that perhaps my purpose is to live instead of dying. At this point in my life, though, I'm merely staying alive, which isn't very formidable as it is forced instead of embraced. Listen, sometimes you got to do that. Just survive. And just keep on going on. And just, if you can add that hope or that faith or whatever, and you just don't give up. You just keep on going on. And then don't go down a destructive path. You just carry on living life. You join things, you work, you get experience, you go study, you travel, etc. You learn about life. That will change. Sometimes, like even now, recently, like all the time, loads of people like go through like life or parts of life where all they can do is just survive, and that's all. But that's what they're doing, and they choose to do that, which is amazing. To live is very different from merely being alive. To live is to dance to the music of life. To be alive is to listen to the songs and attempt to refrain from pulling out the damn earplugs because music really means nothing to you anymore. I know quite a bit about surviving. It resembles a state where being alive consists plainly of one's physical body functioning at a medically acceptable level, and this without one's spirit being connected. Okay? I think at that point, yeah, like, what I was saying was true because I didn't have, like, I clearly didn't have an idea of spirit or anything like that. And I'm talking about physical body, I'm not even talking about mind, anything like that. So, this often feels as if one's genuine and original self has completely disappeared. I definitely had felt that. That did. I was completely lost, and I mean, I even go through periods now where it's just like, who am I? Without trying to sound condescending, you may even feel as if you're a waste of space or a lost and unwanted box of nothingness without useful purpose. It sucks. That's cute. 18-year-old me, it sucks. I'm not making fun of myself, I'm just saying, like, that's sweet. Like, sometimes I read this and I want to give that person who's just younger than me a hug. Just be like, it is okay. You're gonna be okay. Gosh. And you know, there's so many people out there, so many kids out there that really truly, they still need that. They don't have that. So come on. Let's be there for each other. I mean, I'm reading this as past tense stuff. And what makes it even much more... And what makes it much more difficult is in the state of mind that is keeping alive is tiring and demotivating, especially when one has long forgotten how to live. That is pointing directly at my mom. When I lost her, I was like, I did not know what to do. Where is Wally in this puzzle? Well, it is fairly simple. Some have the gift of not being able to live, to really live, and some do not. I saw that as a gift. It is. For those who do not, they have not necessarily lost everything, which is what I need to keep remembering. I believe that it is possible to share others' zest. I can translate that in a way that many things that I didn't feel that I could achieve or feel or find a way to incorporate into life, but I would see it, I would observe it. I would then be able to just be glad that other people had that. And maybe that's weird, but you know, it's not exactly depressing, especially like, but given the fact that you don't compare. So if something good happens for somebody, I'm so glad for you, and you just see that and you're happy for the fact that they're good, that they're okay. And it's important not to, like, what's the point of envy? What's the point of being jealous? That's being bratty. Don't do that. Like, then you would need to grab. Like, yeah. Anyway, the only way I can describe this is in a more adequate manner is that one without the gift of being able to dance to the music of life can still appreciate one who does. Ironically, I'm talking because I can say now that I'm actually talking about myself and my future self, because now I'm like I'm like looking at checking my headphones still there. I need them daily. I love to listen to music and dance and sing, or even mime singing, and just like, and the music of life. I mean, the birds outside, just there's just so much. So yeah, and to dance to it, like, that is an expression of like gratefulness, joy. It's like, I don't give up. I'm gonna just, despite how much pain, I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna be silly. I'm gonna be funky. You know, that was lame, I know, but you know, in your own privacy, in your own home, try it out. Crank up some good music, dance, have a good time. Notice soon, while you embrace the music that you love, there's a smile on your face, and you're dancing to the music of life, and that it can be achieved. It's less of a thought, more of an action. And yes, it does involve appreciation. It does involve gratitude. It does involve appreciation for what you're going through, your life, what you still have, what you still have left. I'm not saying I've got it all now. I'm not saying I don't struggle or find life easy. I'm saying that whilst it is super, try not to swear right now, you can choose to take moments of time to do the actions, dance, listen to music, be joyful, instead of sitting down with your head down and ruminating over and over your negative thought cycles. You've got to disrupt that. It's not easy, but I mean, it's possible. Then I say, for example, there are certain people that resemble a type of light, like the sun or the stars. They emit an incredible warming aura to a large proximity around them. There is no way one cannot notice these people, these rays of light. I often notice these people, and when I do, yes, sometimes I am sad that I'm not like them, but I'm also humbled by the precious gift they own. Since I view it as a gift, I am glad they have been blessed with it. At least somebody has it. These types of people tend to truly deserve the quality. I'm just hectic with the deserve part. I don't like that word. Everybody deserves that. When something like that is best suited to someone, it is really touching to see. Shame, I was really sad. I'm merely alive. I've accepted that. I'm aware that at times I will only have the strength to placidly carry on like a robot every day. I know I have to monitor myself and tell myself what to do, both while trying to be mindful. At least I'm trying. And that's got to count for something. Yo! If that's an anthem for anybody, at least you're trying. And that does count. I possess a weighted portion of emptiness that I cannot avoid carrying. Even though I feel so inhumane, as if I'm a parasite watching over a body so scarred and damaged, I might refrain from becoming caught in the disappointment my inner spirit feels it cannot escape. So there you go, talking about spirit, and you don't know, and I felt empty. Just give that person a hug. Jeez. I do not want to seem cynical while saying all of this. They are earnest realizations I have made, and I'm openly sharing with you through realizing though, I think I've achieved some kind of contentment. Okay, so the key in that is that I wrote all of this out. I wrote it out and I shared it. And I was honest. Yes, perhaps the feelings of being done and content fuel my readiness to embrace death. But I still attempt to remain open-minded to the possibility that my opinion about life and death may change. Ooh, nice. You may be wondering why I feel I've reached my time. It is due to the fact that I feel as if my purpose in life has already been fulfilled. I'm under the impression that I played a noteworthy role in my mother's life. It was the greatest blessing and privilege. To be integrated and included in something so gentle and beautiful was beyond satisfying. Yeah, sure, I was feeling very satisfied after she died. No. I'm talking like past tense here. And because of that, I feel I've fulfilled all I had wanted to fulfill. That is true. That was true. I really did feel that. But I didn't know that there were other stages of life where I could feel that again. And so that's why. You still need to grow into you. And then again. And then again. More of you. Da 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 da. So this life, carry on, life. Sometimes you feel like you die and then you're alive again, like you're born again. It's like, whoa, and you have these new eyes, new perspective, and you've gone through a period of time and you're like, huh. And you have maybe got like some pearls of wisdom there. Time. And also at the same time, you don't have control of time. You are going to die in any case. So don't try and take control of that and get control of time. Use your time wisely. And just try and understand where you are. Try and make clarity of things. Explore, have fun, live balanced. It's not always about purpose, that, like, but I don't think that that's coming through as what I'm saying. Yeah, I am basically just sharing what I wrote down that was real inside of me, that was hard to put down on paper and then to share it. And it's published in my book. And in fact, like, most of this stuff would be things that I would find much harder to even share with words aloud, speaking to someone. So write down. If you don't have a notebook and a pen, in any case, you need one. You need that. There's no excuse not to have that. You will find that very handy. And that is not the same thing as your phone. Have your phone, but have your notepad. Have paper and a pen and a pencil. Okay? That's not so old school, but like, I'm old school, plus I'm still here. And so I can say, do it. Just do it. Just listen. I still do that. As for the above, in many ways I feel I'm prepared to let go. Still, I scrupulously yearn for it. I already feel as if I lost a big chunk of myself. I am generally convinced that if I cut the cords, that is not cool to say, find my ultimate peace. That is not true. Whether it lies after death or somewhere else. Nope. You can find peace in life. Life is where you find peace. Promise you, that's where I found it. I just want to be there, that's all. The thing is, it's not a location, it's a state of mind. And you can bring that state of mind, you can enter it in different places in life. So, yeah, it's to find a way to work towards acquiring that, to learn how to get to that in your mind, in your life. Unfortunately, for the people who expected something different from me, I got about expected. That's a major thing. Still, for me, it's like been through a lot of that. Trying to live up to other people's expectations, trying to change myself to what other people expect me to be, trying to, like, all these kind of things. And then also trying to meet expectations I had of myself, which were unrealistic. So I like push through and be so extreme, and then be disappointed, and then not know what to expect, because it would be like, well, I did this, now I did that, there's nothing left to do. Like, and then I'll ultimately get back to I'm some kind of failure. No. Expectations are so, no, it's not good to have them, not even of other people. And I can't really comment too much, but it's important to just include in communication, I guess. I think that sometimes, just as humans, we can, without extremes, we can just naturally sort of either judge or accidentally expect something from someone without knowing, without considering naturally. And this is a practice that's important to put in, and to work with another person as well, and to communication can help with that, because sometimes somebody expects something of you based on ABC, and they don't know the rest of the alphabet that is behind the ABC, what they know. And so you can't become disappointed if, yeah, it's difficult. Don't try and meet another person's expectation. What do you know about what their expectation is? So you're trying to meet an expectation that you think that they have, and ultimately it's just live, breathe, rather learn to be you, to practice being you, so that there isn't a surprise, there isn't someone to have an expectation. It's not like, what is that expectation? What do you expect? Don't know. It's very loose in terms of thinking. It's not helpful at all. It is something that does happen, so I would suggest that if you're with another person in any sort of relationship, to ask, well, what was your expectation? Or what do you expect of me? Or what do you feel that I expect of you? Or to mention that I don't have any expectation. I didn't expect you to reply, or I don't expect you to reply or respond at all, or immediately, or just like giving those boundaries, or just opening up that form of conversation. Otherwise, you're putting down not boundaries, but like just lines in the sand with high walls, and then like it's like, each way, or either way, either to that person or from another person coming to you. They come running, they expect maybe to come towards you, but they hit a brick wall they could have never expected. They're in shock. And sometimes if you're on the other side of that wall, you don't know, because you don't want to know, and you're not open, and be open, just yeah. Anyway, unfortunately, yeah, okay, there's a major chance that they would never will. So I'm talking about those fantasies, and I'm considering that there is a major chance that they never will happen. I'm self-obliged to be realistic about it all, hence I'm telling it to you. You may say my thinking seems wrong or pessimistic. You may say that things will get better, and other transparent, typical sayings. But what you must realize is that you cannot change me. Oh Lord, I wish I tattooed this on, yeah. In fact, if I were to put that in a nice design, like, and it's relevant to a lot of things. And that is something, sure, I say there, but it's like, oh man, but girl, stand up for yourself and be like, I wish I had that. I wish I just knew that those were really, really important words. To stand up for myself and be of that, not attitude, but be of that I am allowed to say, and I'm allowed to be me, and I'm allowed to say, you You have no right to come try and change me. It's like, but as I shared before, like I was constantly, I clearly did not stand up and just be like, you cannot change me. I try to, a lot of the times, change myself to adapt or to try and be accepted. Just a whole mess. And later on in life, I'm exhausted. There's less life, there's less time. Even though this is taking long, but it's something that is a task that I haven't done, that I'm completing. And it is of me, and it is, for me, it's very interesting. At the end of the day, everything begins and finishes in one's head. I must admit, though, it feels very strange for my views of death to be so uncharacteristically solidified, especially when everything else in my head compromises of a constant, ever-changing jungle of jumbled thoughts. Hectic, that's like, okay. Especially when everything else in my head comprises of a consistent, ever-changing jungle of jumbled thoughts. Whew, that feels ana. And not to mention my emotions, they are disorderly and hyperactively chaotic. Both are like meteorites making craters and indentations upon my moonish mind. I think this for a lot of younger people nowadays, that might be something that they go through. Because if I went through this when I was younger, and it's quite it's quite on point. Everything sort of felt chaotic. And as a moonish mind, it's just too linked to the craters on the moon, and like I didn't really. There's no further meaning than that. Like as a moonish. So I don't really feel like needing to look into what does that mean. No. I think maybe I felt out there or disconnected, but ultimately I do have this tattoo, yeah. And it's a moon symbol. It's not like to indicate any kind of stage in the moon cycle. It's just like you can see. Just drawing. I drew it on with a pen and got it tattooed over. But it was just the moon. And why I got it was to symbolize that there's always light, even if it's dark. And for me, that's always what I would explain to people when they would ask me about the finger tattoos. And when I'd get to the moon one, I would literally go into the full explanation and then carry on with it. And just, ultimately just say to a person, look up. Get outside, look up. Because, there's always light, even if it's dark. And spiritually, that is so true. It is so true. It is true. And so in many different ways. And like here in South Africa, we get some paracuts and things like that. And so to be prepared, you gotta have some candles, something, a torch, those small keychain torches, a lighter or something to make light. Or to just, some fairy lights even. I've got fairy lights, I love them. A candle, a nice scented candle. Just like, how can you not believe that is true when you've got those things in place and you can do those? So it involves choice. Anyway, on a slightly more positive note, even though I have come to realize and conclude these things that may seem slightly negative, importance lies in the fact that I've done so. I've created balance via communication. And in realizing this, I've kept myself alive, which is not nothing. Not nothing. For some reason or no reason, I'm still here. Again, I would like to point out that this was 9 years ago, and so I guess I'll carry on stepping. I'm surviving, and that's something. That is true for today, that is true for then, that is true for future. It is just true. It's relatable, it is so true. I'm surviving, that's something. And perhaps that something could drive out the nothing that then eventually end up as a blessing worth waiting for. One which does not come with dying, but living. Oh, that is the stuff. Man, this I could just earmark this page. Yeah. That is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. I wrote that last part of that without even knowing. Just like I knew for the future, but it's like I didn't. And that is so true. And it links up to, in the first chapter, when I say, talk about the steps of life, that being a gift, if, stepping. And when I talked about time, that's to do with pace, and that's to do with just, you got to carry on going. If you fall down, you got to get back up, and just carry on stepping. You got to move. And with time, if you got to take it like 1 minute at a time, or 1 hour at a time, or even I spoke about even 1 second at a time, where I was kind of talking about being in the moment, where it's like you're not really focused on time. How could you be? Because if it's 1 second at a time, it's like the second is gone before the previous one has ended and the first one has come. So that's showing to be mindful. And then another thing is, so I'm linking all of this up for you, and I'm just saying, reach out, communicate, write stuff down, get it out of you, share it, connect with people. You got to try and do that. That's a part of life. You got to participate in life. You're here alive. You got to keep going. You've got to survive. You're going to make a way. If you need to find a torch or need to make fire, you need to learn how to survive, do that. If you can reach out to someone, do that. Be honest, yes, do that. Honestly, really. Start doing it now, and carry on doing it. And also, take those moments, go outside, do it every day. 5 minutes, whatever. Sometimes I think I'm gonna do it now after this. I'm gonna make myself a cup of coffee, or heat up the one that I made before and sit outside, look up. I've just looked into the light bulb now. That is, anyway, that's much more painful than looking up outside. And so, no matter the weather, it's about outside intentionality. I am walking to go outside, to sit down. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Breathe. Notice your breath and your heartbeat. Essentially, that's like rhythm to the inner music in you. And your voice is like, what is that? But a voice box, an instrument. And very close to that, I mean, you breathe. And if you're looking up and you have this posture, it probably doesn't look nice in the video, I don't care. And what you see outside up in the sky, you can't predict unless you go and you go look. And you look up and you spend those 5 minutes. I'm gonna have a cigarette and a coffee and look up, and may even sit for a little while longer and observe the birds, listen to the sounds of this time of day. I think I haven't checked the time again, but it's probably around 5 or just after that. It's nearing between 5 and 6, which means it's coming closer to the little birdies making the last chirps, flying around. And I can't see the sunset from where I'll sit outside, but I can see the sky. I can look up. I can sit and be at peace. I can admire things in front of me. I can admire things in my garden, natural things. And what is also natural is It's me, you. It's just being. It's like, what is your heart? It's your heartbeat. It is your heartbeat. That is your breathing. And I'm talking now, but it's also important to sit, pause, and take that moment. Look up at the sky, wonder, be in awe, be grateful, and just be still. Be in that moment. Enjoy just breathing. Enjoy a cup of tea, whatever. But the purpose of that is that you do it. And if it's 5 minutes, that's what it is. Cool. But you intentionally go and do that. Now it's like those are the most amazing relaxation, like everything. It's better than any pills, better than any kind of whatever you want to think that is better. No. You know, you can do a lot of things naturally, and then you can get that peace. And sometimes it's a daily thing, but you need practice. But just, you just keep on stepping, keep surviving, eventually thriving. You can put in earplugs, you can listen to music and be like, yeah, listen to the radio, know how to tune in. Have those numbers that are important, that you can be responsible for yourself and therefore walk confidently. Communicate with other people, be it strangers or not. But just do. Have that pen and paper. You're going to need to take notes. You're going to need to maybe feel like you want to draw. Have a notebook and things like that. And no, it doesn't count if you can do doodles and draw on your phone. I know about that. Thank you. I also know about just the beauty of being able to go pen to paper. There's something just so therapeutic about that. Also, like pencil to paper, whatever it may be, to just draw or doodle. And on that token, I'll end it on a little bit of a funky note. And it's not the I told you so, it's more of an encouragement. A lot of people have told me, and I've corrected them and also proved to them that they can, because they can. And people would say, I can't draw. That's not true. Anyone who can think can draw. It's not about, maybe you taught certain ways to draw at school. I bloody well can't remember. Sometimes my handwriting, I'm like, that's an interesting picture. It's about that expression. I mean, you can see some, like, I would love it to actually, like, when I worked with kids and was first teaching them some drawings, some kids of certain ages, they scribble. Most of it is a scribble, maybe different colors. But I would often admire that, because I would look and I would see, and then I would talk to the kid, and I mean, I've actually had this conversation as an adult about a drawing that I had made that seems kind of like, not a scribble, but like, what is that? And with somebody else, discuss about it and try to figure out, what is it about? What was I feeling? What is the meaning of it? So there's a discussion to be had there about that form of expression. And there are those drawings that are one-line drawings. I love those. I absolutely love those. Those are actually quite difficult to do. And, it's beautiful. It's creative. So is writing. And you can get organized. You can write music. Just get involved in things that you are interested in. Or if you don't know about something, become informed. But anyway, peace and love to you, and just know that I'm gonna go take 5. I'm gonna go get oxygen, and this was worth it for me, because it's not about me, it's about you, it's about sharing. And I don't go and rewatch when I record. I just edit it and try and crop it and make it smaller so that I could save it and then upload it. And it doesn't matter to me whether if nobody sees it or whatever. It matters that I did this, and it was an interesting process to me, and it was not for me or, personal gain or selfish thing. It was just an exploration thing. It's a task set out. Now I've done it. Now I'm gonna go breathe. I'm gonna stop talking. Anyway, don't give up. You'll be okay. My heart beats. Your heart beats. I breathe. You breathe. Sending a hug.